Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back. Let's let this truck go by. This happens every video. Okay, now the truck is gone. Welcome back. Hello. We are going to get into why older women are having a hard time getting job interviews. Why older women are having a hard time getting job interviews. Let's get into this. So I was curious about this topic because I know people personally that are having these similar struggles currently. And so I was curious about the topic. I decided to I went to Google Gemini to look up some stuff, and I looked up Chat GPT. And I look up these things not because I believe they give the answers, but they kind of help guide me into the right direction to do further research on things. So that's why I typically consult Chat GPT or Google Gemini to give me some ideas. So Chat GPT was helpful. Google Gemini for some reason wasn't helpful, but Chat GPT was helpful, and it sent me to an article by the Harvard Kennedy School. And here's the article here. It says, this article is titled, older women were less likely than younger women to be offered interviews for entry-level positions despite having resumes with matched characteristics. So it says, women face a wide range of barriers to economic gender equality and age discrimination. Why do I feel like that's written wrong? Women face a wide range of barriers to economic gender equality and age discrimination. Women who face? I think that should say women who face. Anyway, may create particular obstacles for older women. I hope they don't keep having errors in this, the way things are written, because that's going to just be so distracting. Okay. For example, older women are more likely than older men to live in poverty. What? I don't like that. Older women are more likely than older men to live in poverty. I done spent way too much time in poverty. I don't want that to be my trajectory. Okay. And those who are widowed see an average 30% decline in living standards. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. If you were with a partner originally and then they're no longer there, I mean, you're not going to have that income anymore. Legally, the Age Discrimination and Employment Act, ADEA, we talked about that before, protects workers age 40 and older from discrimination in hiring. But how can you prove it, though? They get savvy on how a lot of these jobs get real savvy on being able to skirt around discrimination things that they actually do use to decide who they want to hire. They figure out a way to skirt around being blatant about it. Okay. So, however, discrimination in hiring is difficult to judge. Older workers may encounter statistical discrimination in which an individual is judged according to group stereotypes, such as an assumption that older workers will struggle to learn new technologies. Yeah, that's what we've been talking about. And we all are going to work on some of these things and kind of explore ways that we can all be more technologically astute. Or taste-based discrimination, which is an outright preference for younger over older workers. Yeah, there's a lot of assumptions that go on with that. I will say, I think older people are very reliable when it comes to work. I know the younger people, they'll dip out on work quickly, because I used to when I was younger. So anyway, this field experiment tests for age-based discrimination among women applying for entry-level jobs, as might be characteristic of women re-entering the workforce. By using computer-generated resumes with matched qualifications but varying ages, suggested by varying high school graduation dates. Yeah, that's why you shouldn't just put your experience, but don't put what I've heard is when it comes to resumes and you're older, put your experience, but don't put dates. Unless, like, when you get to the application part and they ask, like, what period did you work from this place to that place, then you can put that on there. And that is still going to put you up for a little bit of discrimination, because they're going to be able to figure out, okay, if you worked at some place for 20 years, you ain't in your 20s. So, you know, you have that. Let's see here. The author was able to compare employer response. So let me read that sentence all over again. By using computer-generated resumes with matched qualifications but varying ages, suggested by varying high school graduation dates, the author was able to compare employer response rates based on age. Okay, so this is their little research tactics that they did. Okay. All right, the findings. Older women whose high school graduation dates implied an age of 50, 55, or 62 were significantly less likely to receive interview offers than younger women, with implied ages of 35 or 45, for an entry-level job in Boston, Massachusetts, or St. Petersburg, Florida, which was chosen because it has a similar demographic mix to what the U.S. Census projects the U.S. to have in the 2020s as baby boomers reach retirement age. In Massachusetts, 3.8% of older women ages 50, 55, or 62 received interview offers, compared to 5.3% of younger women ages 35 to 45. Okay, yeah, there's a difference there. In other words, older women needed to submit 27 applications on average to receive an interview offer, compared to 19 for younger women, a 42% increase. Now, let me tell you something. This is why I can say for sure, as you get older, you do not have the patience for this. So you mean to tell me I am more likely, well, I'm not in that particular age group, 50 to 55. I'm not quite in that age group yet. But still, you mean to tell me I'm going to have to put in like 10 more applications just because I'm older? Let's be honest, when you get older, you are not up for that. That is a bunch of extra stress. Okay, going on. In Florida, 4.3% of older women received interview offers, compared to 6.2% of younger women. In other words, older women needed to submit 23 applications on average to receive an interview offer. That's a lot, y'all. And I can understand, even with this, I believe even with this current economic and job environment, I'm pretty sure it's probably damn near double that, y'all. So let me go read that sentence again. In other words, older women needed to submit 27 applications on average to receive an interview offer, compared to 19 for a younger woman, which they say this is a 42% increase. That's crazy. Okay. In Florida, 4.3, that was Massachusetts. We just talked about the findings for Massachusetts. In Florida, 4.3% of older women received, wait a minute. Okay. I got that mixed up. Massachusetts is the 27 applications over 19 versus 19 for younger women is 42% increase. Okay. In Florida, 4.3% of older women receive interview offers, compared to 6.2% of younger women. In other words, older women needed to submit 23 applications on average to receive an interview offer, compared to 16 for younger women, a 46% increase. For each additional 10 years of age, a woman in Massachusetts would need to submit 5 additional applications on average, and a woman in Florida would need 3.5 additional applications on average to receive an interview offer. Yeah, and they mentioned before that they did Massachusetts and Florida because it was a good representation of the entire U.S. Census. So that I can understand why they just kept this. I was just thinking about that. I can understand why they kept it just Massachusetts and Florida. Anyway, the author hypothesized that human resource professionals would show less preference for younger workers. Taste-based discrimination, that's what they're calling it, because of training and knowledge of discrimination. However, HR professionals in large firms were no less likely to interview older applicants. Similarly, though younger employees might be more likely to prefer younger applicants, differential interviewing, I think they should say similarly, though younger employers might be more likely to prefer younger applicants. Differential interviewing by age happened equally across geographic areas with younger and older workers. Okay, so basically differential interviewing. So I guess different interviewing styles or different interview questions. I'm assuming that's what this means. Then we say resume elements designed to counter common stereotypes about older workers, such as computer certification or high energy sports, produce no clear evidence of statistical discrimination due to group stereotypes. Wait, I'm not understanding this one. Resume elements designed to counter common stereotypes. I don't get that part. In short, these findings show that older women face significant age discrimination in the entry-level job market. This evidence suggests that cuts to benefits such as Social Security or Medicare programs for retired and elderly individuals might leave older women with difficulty finding alternative sources of income. Yeah, that's a major concern. That is a major concern. So it pretty much, what we've been talking about, it pretty much just highlights what we've already been discussing here on this channel. And that is, when you get older, you're going to face some difficulties and challenges that younger people may not face. You have to work that much harder on trying to get interviews, trying to prove that, yes, I may be older, but I also have the ability to still learn. I'm still flexible. I'm still adaptable to new environments and new things. And to be honest, that does become more difficult as you get older, because you have so many other things to worry about. I feel like when you get older, you have health. Sometimes you're taking care of aging parents. Sometimes you still have adult kids. They got things going on that you're trying to help with. That you're still trying to navigate like you're a young person, but you got all these extra layers of issues and problems and things that you have to manage as well. And so with all of that, and if you have any type of job interruption, like a layoff or getting fired, or you get ill and you're off of work for a long period of time, you have to deal with also being discriminated against, because there's an inherent assumption that you won't be able to pick up and run with things like someone younger, or they may be thinking that since you're older, you're going to be calling out more because of health issues or whatever, etc., etc. So yeah, y'all. But anyway, y'all, we are going to stay in we're in this fight together. We're going to stay in this fight together. We're going to keep staying on top of what's going on in this job market and the career field. And we're just going to keep plowing through it, or, I can't think of the right word I want to say. We're going to keep addressing and attacking it. What they say, what's the best way to eat an elephant? One bite at a time. I think that's really the only thing that I say, but I don't know. I feel like other people should be saying it. I don't know. Am I the first person to say that? Probably not the first person to say that. But anyway, that's how I look at it. What's the best way to eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so we're going to keep addressing this elephant that comes in the room with us when people see that we're older, We're going to keep addressing it. So thank you all for stopping by. Keep tapping in. Like I said, we are a community. We are going to be talking about these issues. We're going to talk about different things that we can do as older individuals to stay ahead of the game, to stay in the fight as long as possible, because we all know it's not easier. It's not getting any easier to retire. It's not getting any easier to make money and income for yourself. So yeah, we just gotta stay in this fight together and keep encouraging one another. Y'all drop down in the comment section. Let me know some different things that you all like, personal experiences or experiences from a family member or friend that you know that you were pretty sure it was age discrimination, but you can't prove it. Because I'm sure that's a lot of us. You can't prove it, but you pretty much are sure that's what it was. And it might have been blatant. I mean, people getting away with all kinds of stuff now these days. So it could have been blatant as well. Blatant discrimination. So yeah, y'all, drop down in comments. Let's get the conversation going. And I will chat with you guys later. Bye-bye for now.